name is Gibler, freshman at LCSE studying diesel technology. And here with me, I have some of my cohorts with LCSE diesel. We've all been forced into group, right? Some of those groups work out, others not so much. My goal here today is to inform you of the key factors that make a group work. So the next time you're thrown into a group, you won't have to stress about the group's ability to work towards a goal. Not only have I taken the small group communication class, I've also taken a very in-depth human relations class, where I have not only studied but also learned the inner workings of a small group. The important phases are the key factors of a group: the developing stages, the group norms, and the group's motivation. First, the foundational steps of a group, the development stages. In the 1960s, Bruce Tuckman published the team development model, which displayed 4 distinct stages of group development that the group travels through from the time they first form to when they're most efficient: the forming, storming, norming, and performing stages. In the forming stage, the members first become acquainted with one another. Members are often quiet and reserved. The storming stage is when members typically start to rival one another for order of command. That's when you figure out leaders or the people and followers and who you're going to listen to in a group. The norming stage is the following stage. Here in the third, productivity starts to rise again. And this is when the group processes are starting to establish how you factor in problems or solve day-to-day activities. The performing stage is the final here. It represents the peak performance in the group. Everyone knows their place and they follow established rules for leading a very effective team. In 1977, with the help of a colleague, Tuckman added an adjourning to the end of this list. The adjourning stage is the final stage of group. Whether the group is only a year old or decades old, eventually comes to an end. This is where members separate and the group is disbanded. Now that we know how a group transforms, let's focus on what is typical to see in those groups. Norms decide how the group behaves. Everything from their dress to how they handle tough situations. Group norms can be split into 2 main groups: explicit and implicit. Explicit norms are the traditions that are established out loud and also include the procedures that a group follows for different activities. These are the rules that are established at the beginning of the group when you first join, or maybe added before or after. Implicit norms are the traditions that are verbally established to carry out some weight, i.e. seating arrangement in a classroom. No one told you that's your seat, that's your seat. No matter if they're implicit or explicit, all norms can be split into 4 groups: interaction norms, procedural norms, status norms, and achievement norms. Interaction norms are the communication standards. How formal do you talk to people? Is it email, text, in person? What's typical in that group? Procedural norms are the structural procedures. How do you go about solving those problems we talked about earlier? What are the processes you have set up? Do you have to talk to higher up every single time, or can you make decisions on your own? Status norms are how the levels of influence are treated. Is your boss a friend or is he your boss? Because there's a difference and it matters. And achievement norms determine the level of quality and effort and what should be expected and rewarded. If you do an extraordinary job on a project, do you get a handshake, a pat on the back, or are you rewarded for that effort you put in? Conformity and choices are some of the last 2 topics discussed in our book about group norms. Our book, Working in Groups, has been the main guide to our class's learning this year. In it, we have learned everything we need to know about what a group is and how its members work, such as the conformity and choices made in a group. Both describe the group's effectiveness and the choices each person makes in that group. How the group reacts to your choices may affect your choices that you make in that group. And finally, now that we know what a group expects of its members, let's discover how to change these expectations to create an effective work environment. A group's goals and how you motivate the members are the fuel of the team. A group's goals should be clear, concise, leading the group in a solid direction. A goal is what motivates the group to work. An indirect goal can lead to a group to stray, while a clear goal makes a solid team. Just like the image above. When you have a clear goal, you can make a straight bridge to there. If you don't, you're building a bridge to nowhere. This hydraulic pump here. This is an example of a working team. You have all these parts and components inside that all fit together, and they have to work together. Its whole job is to bring fluid in and pump fluid out. If a component in here is too loose or worn out or not maintained, the whole pump is rendered ineffective. The same stands for a group. If you do not maintain members, support each other, and maintain the group as a whole, you have a very ineffective team. Pinned agendas are individual goals in a group, and these can be detrimental to the group's performance if left alone. Personal motivators can come from external sources, like a company pressuring you to do work, or an internal source, like a pride that you have. Feeling like you make a difference, having choices, and having a sense of competence in your work are the top 3 personal motivators for a member of a group. Meet all 3 of these as a leader, and you've got yourself a devoted member. Now, with these total, you've got yourself a team. With these points, you should be able to guide any group to becoming a very effective team to working towards their goal. If you understand the stages of group development, how to guide them through that, what a clear goal means, and how to set that up for a group, then you should be able to apply them and create a wonderful working group. We all hate working in a bad group. Thank you.